administration. So this is probably the first male ego we've seen that can go toe-to-toe with Trump.
He already got everything he needed. He's got all the money he could ever dream of. He doesn't need to go back. But I do want to remind everyone of how the president talked about Tesla over the last few months. Watch this.
I love Tesla.
You gotta give him credit.
We want the future to look like the future. And it's got
I love Tesla.
With the Blade Runner drive.
The one I like is that one. And I want that same color.
Are you buying that Tesla? Will boost Tesla sales and
Well, I hope it does. Look. I care about one thing. When somebody's a great patriot, they shouldn't be hurt. He's a great patriot. I love Tesla.
Yes, I love Tesla. I love Tesla.
Looking to sell that red Tesla.
I love Tesla.
First off, this Tesla. Little technicality.
I love Tesla.
You know, the front lawn of the White House is a showroom. And at that moment,
Girl, I love Tesla.
they were both getting something out of this, and Trump knows and knew in that moment what he would say. Elon.
I love Tesla.
He would,
Knock. Dave here. We're in a bit of a crisis situation here in paradise. Now the kind of music...
I love Tesla.
getting, what Trump would be getting is the additional branding, the additional, sort of, connection to a real, kind of culture that was developing, that had developed in the campaign, and that Elon and others represented. So, and again, the symbiosis here is not lost. But I think it's important, as you're looking at all of that, right? That's all distraction. That's smoke and mirrors. That, at the end of the day, is a bunch of BS. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional, probably in some quarters. But here's the nub, and it goes back to what Brian was saying, that all of that does not come close to what Elon Musk has already ripped out of the government and what he will continue to get out of this government. To the point, he doesn't need Trump anymore. His boys are inside the building. They're operating the servers. They have servers in the White House. They have servers in Social Security and in other agencies. So that's the key thing here. It doesn't matter whether he shows up at the White House again. He's already there. He's perpetually there.
So you're going to have Democrats miss an opportunity to sort of get in the mix of any of this in any way, or should they just step aside and let these two duke it out?
Well, that's an interesting question. There's two philosophies here. One is to let them just blow themselves up, which they're doing a very good job of, but at the same time, they're moving the greatest brand in the world, the United States of America. And, I have a serious problem with that. I am not one to resist. I'm one to unify, but I fight. And I've not seen my Democratic brethren and be on offense. I like to play offense over time and stepping in. And I'm trying to wake up, especially with my candidacy right now in California, because I grew up as a fighter. And the Democratic Party that I know and love knows how to fight. And I think we're going to find our voice and try to help out with that today.
Mayor, the Washington Post says several federal agencies, like this one kills me, are now frantically trying to rehire many of the people those fired because they need their skills for things like weather forecasting. Less sexual jobs. What does that tell you about the way those operate?
They're not operating based on any sense or understanding of what government functions are, what government actually provides for the American public. Frankly, the federal government provided things that we take for granted. The fact that you walk into a grocery store and know that your milk is actually milk, that your meat is clean, that you have recalled because of health inspectors. But that, in essence, go through the process of approval, right? All of these things that make America what it is, and not a developing country in desperate need of outside resources. That is what's being torn apart right now. Not, say, the defense budget or the military budget, right? Trump is off talking about a golden dome over the United States and missiles to help, I don't know, shoot down something or other, but not talking about the fact that bird flu inspectors were fired. You've had poisonings and children in hospitals because of salmonella because they stopped inspecting food plants and they couldn't trace where the sickness was coming from. You have the national security nuclear personnel were fired. Just look at Newark Airport, air traffic controllers who were like, you know what? If you're going to tell me that I'm terrible at my job, I'm just going to take this resignation and take this early money.
So,
Who is actually taking care of these day-to-day functions that have kept America at the forefront of innovation and technology? It was the federal government. And all Elon Musk and Doge have done is, tear out the wiring from the computer without looking to see if the computer can still function.
All right, well, Brian, what about the Supreme Court decision to give Doge access to Social Security information? Why would Doge even need it?
Well, what we've seen is that Doge is trying to combine data from a bunch of different agencies. Right now, that would be in service of trying to track down immigrants. But of course, if you're getting all of the information from everybody, that allows you to track everybody. What surprised me about the Supreme Court ruling is that it implies that there's some sort of urgent need for Doge to have this data right now, and that there's irreparable harm if they can't get it, right? There's a standard that has to be met. It completely ignores the potential irreparable harm of giving these people this data, because once they have it, again, you can't unget the data. It's out there. Once you commingle the data that's supposed to be private, once you combine these together, once you give these often young and experienced engineers with who come from private sector, the irreparable harm to the people whose data is now been compromised, essentially, while prioritizing some sort of phantom harm that would come to Doge if they can't get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Brian, thank you. Nobody is going anywhere. We have a lot more to cover tonight. Later in the show, veterans are taking a stand against the commander-in-chief as Trump makes cuts to VA. But first, right after the break, the man mistakenly deported by the Trump administration months ago is back on U.S. soil, but his return came with a very hefty price tag. New federal charges. Our nightcap continues right after the break.
Each week on my podcast, I'm joined by uniquely qualified guests who help me take a big picture look at the issues, like Representative Jasmine Crockett, late night host Seth Meyers, former Attorney General Eric Holder, and many more. Why is this happening? Listen now.
The future of trading is here on Robinhood. Purpose built for how you trade. With new ways to execute your strategies. Analyze, buy, and sell. Seamlessly trade stocks, options, crypto, and futures in one place.
Just a few reactions to what just took place.
It's,
U.S. Open Championship.
There's a special father-son bond. That one is yours forever.
When starting your career or revisiting it, you don't have to do it alone. So find a mentor. A good mentor can boost your confidence and job happiness. Just find someone you admire and reach out. The more you know. Do you admire me? Yeah, of course I do. When starting your career or revisiting it, you don't have to do it alone. So find a mentor. A good mentor can boost your confidence and job happiness. Just find someone you admire and reach out. The more you know. Do you admire me?
left my career. Check out that loser! Hello? Greetings.
Hi there, Mr. Richards. Yeah. You know, if I offer consultation, I have to charge you, right? Yes, it's definitely illegal to stuff a midget with coke and treat him like a pinata. Hey, see you at Max.
Oh no.
What's up? Oh my god, I got so smoked out last night. I think I blew a guy.
When I send the email, call me, it means now. Morning, Irma. You saw the show last week, right? 3 words. Fabulous. It's about time you called.
Are you standing me up again? Why would you even try to take the Western Highway at this time of day?
Okay, so I know a guy who manages the bill for it, okay? His overhead is killing him. You follow? Right, gotta cut costs somewhere, and I, my friend, have a hookup on Chinese generics. Bootleg? No, bootleg or generics. Look it up online, you idiot.
It doesn't matter what the clothing looks like. We're selling an attitude.
gathering on the National Mall to protest cuts to Veterans Affairs. Listen to what one veteran told our colleague Milton.
I don't care.
He's a bell, he's a boy, he's bellboy. Hotels bring him joy. He's
Different type of social constructs in the world. But yeah, hey everybody, how are you? Hey Android, hey Trishan, hey CL. How are y'all?
DJ's going good, but I don't know. It just feels like a sellout.
How has y'all Pride Month started? Pride has been great so far this first little week. Other than paying my bills. Other than paying bills, child, this week has been great. Hey Elle, I haven't seen you in a minute. Where you been at? Hey Turner. I have had a really good, a really good week. I went to San Francisco last Friday, and I had a really, really good time. There was a trans health summit there, and I learned so much. And yeah, it's been dope. I'm trying to make these coins. I know that right. That's right. I've been thinking about y'all. I need to put me up an ad, get back in the game, dust off the garter belt. And honey, put an ad up, bitch, because bitch is broke. I need some more money. Oh, child. We're doing Black Pride in BR Atlanta on the 20th. Is that Baton Rouge? Is that what that's what BR for? Um, thank you, Nala. How are you? Starting off my pride competing in the biggest burlesque competition in the world this weekend. Come on, what is it called? Hey, Miss Polk. Hey, Naira. Jenny. What is it called? Deshaun, I'm about to hit a couple of straws for some extra points, bitch. Let me tell you, bitch need $1 or two. I don't think I have the patience no more, y'all. I feel like I don't be having the patience for these niggas. I remember maybe like, I don't know how many years ago it was. It might have been like 8, maybe like 8 years ago. It was pre-COVID. Probably like 8 years ago. I remember I had been out of the game for a minute, but I remember I was like, oh, I'm gonna be up in this city. Let me just go ahead and throw me an ad up and see, just see what it gives, baby. As soon as I got my first call, I was like, oh no. I stopped answering the phone. I was like, oh no, I don't have it. I don't have what people don't understand is when you are an escort and you getting the calls. There's a customer service level of that you're getting calls from people and they're asking you your rates, they're asking you where your location, like you know what I'm saying? They're setting up the appointment, so there is a process, and you got to deal with people's personalities. You got to deal with questions, and you got to deal with, you talking about, this is the dark arts, baby. You don't know who on the other end. It could be the photos. It could be 12, honey. So how you have the conversation is a little, you can't be all willy-nilly talking about everything on the phone because you could be getting set up. So you got to navigate all these things. And even if it is not a popo, it's a person, and they have various personalities. They have various ages, various what various like how they think about you, because they're when you coming into the game, sometimes when dudes come in the game, they think they can come at you like real disrespectful, and they don't have to respect you because you a hoe, because you a prostitute, because you know what I'm saying. They ain't got to respect. They can talk to you any kind of way. Oh baby, I'm not that girl. So you gotta check them. You gotta let them know, baby. Oh no. You need to pick up the girl, because I'm not the girl that you can talk like that too. So so all of that kind of navigating. So as soon as I got my first call, and there was that baby nickel and diming me. When I was younger, I could deal with the conversation and be like, oh, baby, and be all gracious. Baby, I got that first call and they was nickel and diamond, bitch. If you don't got my phone, bitch ass nigga, get the fuck out my phone. Click. I didn't answer the phone no more. I was like, oh, it's not in me no more. It's not in me no more. I done become a class bitch. I can't do it no more. So I was over it, done. Didn't do it. Hey, Shaquilla. How you say that? I get when people have eccentric names. I pride myself in pronouncing it right the first time. Because I'm black, and I want you to know that I can say your name. I'll be excited to want to say people's name right. Is that how you say it? So is that right? Hey, Shaquilla. Hey, Rosario. Shaquilla. Damn, I said it wrong. Shaquilla, dang. She a killer. Come on. Shakilla the killer. Word. It's the reason why I only give my first initial. Like Shaq. Shakilla. Oh, Shakilla. Gotcha. Tequila. No, like Shaq. Shakilla. Like Shaquille. Shakilla. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I can't help it if I'm popping then what's
See, my feedback. You mean my parents are this blind? So you try my patience, but the thing is, you don't have to differently. Amen. Hey, Jude, thank you for the super chat. Hey, you know, anytime y'all give a super chat, you think, yeah, if you do something, like if you type something, it keeps it up there, like you got it. It keeps it up there for me to answer the question. Now, in YouTube, I was doing something new. What are these little numbers that's next to y'all? I see one, I see intro this one, error two, what are these little numbers? What's that to? Anybody know what that is? I'm not experienced. Is that experience points that we would have figured out? Come on, man. I know that's real. Let the girls battle it out. Experience. Yeah. But I see this little thing. Okay, Miss Furniture, right? You know, you love, you should do that. I didn't say no. I didn't say no. Let's say Nella. No, I said hey. I always want to believe the word. Come on. That always reminds me. I was going to look at it. Coming from a family where everyone I was supposed to get together. Yeah. I remember this girl in high school. This girl in high school. And she would be like, oh, nobody from the country, my name is Tommy Tree. And I was like, do you want to be called Q, or you just say that for the Lord? And she's like, well, you can say it, you can say it. And I said, Queen Angela. And she was like, I know that's right. That's how you say it. Fine. I will. Everybody else called it Q. I can't read. I used to feel proud. Those kind of dumb music. Hey. And we had these two other girls, Una K and Julia, and they were sisters, and they had those names, Julia. She had a little short, and they had a short hair. I don't want to say what it is. I don't want to say it. Especially if you have to, y'all think African Americans slow. So, I can say it again. But that was good. That was they were different, you know, second generation. graduated into being just regular black. Hey, Dre. Oh, hey. All right. So let's start. You know, all right. So I start with some message shit, but it's gonna lead into the. I'm slow. I can pronounce shit. Pronounce it and respect shit. All right. So yes, Madison. Friend of mine. Cool, famous icon. Yes, she was on Nene Leakes podcast. It ain't a podcast, it's a show. Out. I'm gonna say it's a podcast. It's a show. And it was a good show. I think the whole show was good. What was quite interesting is that if you get into the chat box, like you get into the comments, so the chat box that y'all in now, in any video, that chat box is open. So if you watch it, it is tons of transphobia going on and wild his it's just a bunch of even some of her moderators was acting a fool in the chat. So it was quite it was interesting to see. And yeah, it was quite interesting to see. But I also know, as somebody, one of the critiques that I have of Madison when I talk to her on a personal level, I tell her, bitch, you're pandering to these cis women. And she'd be like, Diamond, I just don't want to be arguing. She gives that. And the reason why I tell her that, I said, but you're still not going to win. They're still not going to respect you because the demographic that fucks with T.S. Madison is also the demographic that's going to fuck with Nene Leakes. There's going to be an overlap. There's going to be a big aspirational kind of demographic that's like, oh, these fabulous black girls so we fuck with them. There's going to be a overlap. Thank you. There's going to be an overlap, and I'm like, and I was talking about this on March's Plate this week, the episode that came out yesterday. The defaults can be too much. They can be cool, they can be interesting, they can laugh at you, but they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you. And yes, rich, all these accolades, got all these opportunities, but you don't care about that. Still a man live to, and they're going to continue to wear you out. So why make compromise?
Google Pixel 9a. It's built to withstand spills, dust, and drops. So the only thing to worry about is taking in all that you can. Google Pixel 9a, durable by design. Checkers and Rally's $4 unbeatable meal deal changes everything. Your choice of sandwich plus fries, drink, and an apple pie. Just $4. It's too much.
You can never have too much flavor.
Get more for your $4. Only at Checkers and Rally's.
Antithetical to your community. I don't know if that's the right word, but just like kind of not aligning with your community just for the sake of getting along with these bitches. They don't give a fuck about you for real, for real. We do. We're gonna always defend you. Even if we see some problematic shit going on, we gonna call you in, girl. But we never gonna throw you away. You are a girl. So okay. That's a normal accountability community because we love you. But we ain't never gonna be dogging you out. And I'm not speaking in absolutes. There's some trash ass say some weird shit. I'm talking about in general. Most of us don't fuck with Trump. So anyway, it was just interesting. I say all that to say it was really interesting in the comments how transphobic it was, and not surprising, but that is why I don't make compromises when it comes to one of one of the moments or the things that me and Madison disagree on as far as making compromises, and not disagree on it is how we say things. So let me give you an example. So Madison, as a compromise, said that she was going to stop using cis. Now, I felt like that was a compromise too far. It was her choice, so I'm not saying that she's wrong. That's her choice to do. But I felt that's a compromise too far. A compromise to me is trying not to say fish. That's an appropriate compromise to me because the difference in the two words. Cisgender is not a slur. Anybody who knows the history of fish, fish is rooted in being a slur. Rooted in being, yes, we have nuances in its meaning in our culture over time. But when it started to be used, it was queer, gay men talking about cis women and referencing the male and pussy. That is the history. Anybody who try to tell you different, they fucking lie. Yes, now that over time, fish can mean for us, can mean, oh, you're passable, you're pretty, you look cisgender. There's different nuances of what fish can mean. But the start of calling women fish was the disrespectful, derogatory term. Period. Anybody who tells you that is lying. Anybody telling you that it's not that is lying. Fish, yes, it has changed over time, and there is this way that we use it like nigger, but the root of it is nigger. How it started. Now, the thing that if you choose to do it, great. Me, I choose to take it out of my vocabulary. Part of my respect is part of my black feminist practice, the things that's kind of rooted in weird ass shit, let me take that out. It's a hard and difficult guess because I grew up, that is rooted here, lingo, it's difficult, but I can expect other people to be all gung ho about being respectful about their language if I can't be respectful about mine. Like if I can't be no harm. It's all good. I'm not doing that with cisgender. Cisgender is not rooted in anything. It is rooted in respecting you and me. Cisgender is not a slur. Now, these new age motherfuckers,
Hi, Dad.
these new age motherfuckers want to spin it to make it seem derogatory.
Yeah,
There's
Dad.
nothing about cisgender that was started or is derogatory. Period. So I just don't want to be called that I'm a woman. That is turfy motherfuckers trying to be assholes. That's what it is. If you don't want to be called cisgender and you don't want to hear me say it, don't listen to me. Get the fuck on. I'm gonna say it because that is not rooted in anything. Here. So you gotta watch. And we stop using cis, don't stop using cis. It ain't stopping nothing. Stopping nothing. Got it. All right. So I wanted to jump into that. So that's what me and Madison, what we talked about. Maybe like a year ago or whatever ago, we talked about that cisgender thing changing. We were talking about all this. And I was telling you that's what was our discussion. And she was like, Diamond, I just don't want to go through. That's what they always be saying. I'm like, girl, fuck no. But anyway, Madison was on Nene's show. And this is what she had to say. This is what
got a bit of a problem. Some asshole got wind of what we were up to. Apparently killing a guy's closest associate puts a bit of a spot.
So then he goes into this other conversation. Yes, Madison asked her if would you date him if I knew?
That's weird. Because what do you mean you don't date gay men? Because if he is sleeping with you and sleeping with a woman, he's something.
Well, he's not gay.
What is he?
He's definitely not gay.
He's bi?
Listen, because if a man come in here and he looks at me and you,
Yeah. What is
and well, he likes women.
Yeah, because he doesn't know.
But if he does know, he likes women.
Okay, now, so what is he?
Well, that will possibly, it's a possibility.
He's bisexual?
He could be bi or he could be pan.
Okay, what was pan? I forgot. That's it. You be whatever you like.
Okay. So, listen, this is a 101, trans 101 conversation. Okay. Okay. So, we don't do that here. This is a man who takes trans women, gay or straight. We've had that conversation. That's probably one of my earliest videos on fucking YouTube. Like if you go right now.
Here we go. Okay, you're splitting into two teams. Transporter, officer, you're the ground team. To start with, you'll collect our bus from the junkyard in Sandy Shores. Demolitions, you're the perimeter team. You'll be hijacking the inbound Bolingbroke transport. The pilot's going to LSIA. And me, I'm gonna put up some smoke in a nice crowded public place. We've given everyone an AP pistol and a special carbine so there's no fighting over who's the favorite. Ground team, when you get to the bus, the officer's driving, the transporter's in the back playing inmate. If the perimeter team do their job, you'll go in place of the scheduled bus. No one will know the difference. This operation's burnt if you attract police attention, so keep your heads down. Got it? Okay, get to work.
People still have to know. If I have to explain that, if we have to ask, if the is whether black people care and not if you don't know the nuance of being prejudice, you've never done that work, I don't do it. And that's what I feel about conversations with
Sources, more money.
Yes. Some scenes of defiance both here in downtown Los Angeles as well as in Paramount, California, where earlier to leave Africa.
The trailblazers, the youth, Africa's present and future celebrate Inside Africa in association with Zenith Bank. This is CNN Breaking News.
Welcome to our viewers in the United States and all around the world. I'm Brian Abel. As we begin this hour, all eyes are on the Los Angeles area after a second consecutive day of protests against immigration detentions. This was one of the scenes earlier Saturday here in the city of Los Angeles County. Late Saturday, U.S. President Donald Trump.
Late Saturday.
Has threatened to send in active duty Marines. Demonstrators Saturday endured tear gas and flashbang grenades just as they did during protests Friday in the city of Los Angeles. One demonstrator who was hit by a rubber bullet described what he experienced.
And it was close to me, so I decided to get down and kick it away. And as soon as I take my second shot, I got hit.
The CNN correspondent Julia Barnes-Jones has been on scene all day reporting from downtown Los Angeles.
saying release the 118 people that were arrested based on this week. They're saying there's no room for ICE in Los Angeles, and they just moments ago cheered, saying that the National Guard will not make a difference. They will continue to resist. And we have been seeing some scenes of defiance both here in downtown Los Angeles as well as in Paramount, California, where earlier on Saturday, ICE had a staging area and then clashed with protesters there, deploying some tear gas in a scene that developed for hours and hours. Later, across the highway in California, we saw a car set on fire by protesters holding a Mexican flag there as they set that vehicle on fire. That's again about an hour south of where we are now and where we saw action today. But last night, this was also a scene of protests. It seems that Los Angeles is responding to this, and that is being echoed by the officials here as well. The mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, saying that she was angered by this, calling it a terror tactic. Governor Gavin Newsom saying that these were cruel operations that were taking place here in Los Angeles, and saying that bringing the National Guard would only fan the flames of these protests that are so far under control. The LAPD issuing a statement later on Saturday saying that the protests in LA City were peaceful. Now, President Donald Trump did speak about this on Truth Social. He posted saying that there were leaders across the town and that the National Guard was needed in order to bring back the order to the town. And these authorities here pushing back on that narrative, saying things are under control. Peaceful protests are taking place, so people have the right to protest. Back to you.
The CNN senior national security analyst Juliet Hyam joins us now live. And Juliet, we know in some other deployments that what we are seeing in LA may remind us of Ferguson, for example. When the sun went down, the situation deteriorated. And given your background, can you just give us some behind the scenes of what conversations may be like with this new federalized force about how they are preparing for any potential escalation?
Yes, and just to be clear, this is an unprecedented use of what we call Title 10. That appears to be what Donald Trump did tonight, federalizing 2,000 California National Guard. It's a complex web of sort of types of deployments and types of titles, but generally the National Guard does report to the Governor Newsom in this case. And Donald Trump and both are authorized under Title 10, what we call federalization. So why does that matter? So in the United States and in democracy, there are protests. Most are peaceful, most are lawful, and we go on as a democracy. In this case, there were unlawful and in some instances not peaceful protests. Unlawful in the sense that you cannot, no matter what your opinions are about ICE, disrupt the federal law enforcement action. No one, so that's what's on the ground. What's at debate or concern today is the response, because you want to respond to the threat level. So California has dealt with this unrest and has said so. To federally allow local and state authorities to address civil protests and civil unrest. But Donald Trump determined that what he was seeing was justify in his mind the federalization of these troops. This is unprecedented in the sense that you almost never, and in my memory, I've been in this field, I oversaw a National Guard, I understand military-civilian operations. Does the president federalize a National Guard with a protest by a governor for a situation on the ground that, while unrestful, is not to the level where you would want to deploy federalized troops. They report to the President of the United States now. So what kind of conversations are going on? What kind of training has happened? What kind of rules of engagement? What's the mission? What kind of weaponry will or will not be allowed given rules around the use of the military and civilian society, something called the Cost of Common Act. We haven't seen anything. And so we will wait overnight to see how real this is.
What is the difference here historically from going from state control, the state troopers, the local troopers, county officials, now National Guard patrol, regardless of if it's a National Guard patrol by the state or the president. What's the difference here? Are there more resources, more money?
Yes. I'll be honest with the National Guard is a strong asset, let's just put it that way, for a governor to have, and that's why they exist. Under our Constitution, the governor can deploy the National Guard. Generally, examples would be after 9/11 to protect critical infrastructure, nuclear facilities, a major sporting event, an Olympics like the LA is hosting, to allow in a few years to allow for that, or just to have stronger support in times in which people are out on the streets protesting. That's normal. And I know that's maybe odd to people, but our Constitution, our laws actually envision this. So we don't need to go to what I'm calling DEFCON 1, which is essentially now you've moved to a federalized military asset, and as Steve reported, the Secretary Hegseth has said, even active military that aren't even trained for this. And I worry, as someone who's been in this field, about sort of operational rules, weaponry in the civilian society, but also you worry about our troops not knowing what their rules of engagement are, and that's why we take this very seriously tonight, because it's unprecedented. To give a historical example, Hurricane Katrina 20 years ago, the governor asked for the National Guard to be federalized so that the President Bush, could help the state, which is, and the city, which were essentially not functional, literally not functional. Of course, weren't open so the police department barely existed. We've seen it in the past when a governor has defied a court order, say the Little Rock desegregation case, but not in an instance like this. And this is where the debate comes in: is looking at what's happening on the ground. Is this the floor that you actually want to, or the situation that you actually think is justified, a president, let alone a Secretary of Defense, to threaten active military? I've been in this field a long time. My answer is no, just based on even based on some of the violence or some of the looting that we've seen. We know how to deal with this without going to this level of assertion by the federal government.
All right, Julia, Diane, appreciate your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Raul Reyes, attorney and immigration analyst, is now joining us from New York. Raul, thank you for being with us again here. I want to get your take. We have an idea that protests, people protected with the First Amendment, but it cannot interfere with immigration enforcement. What qualifies for interfering with immigration enforcement? What's the definition?
Well, generally, for the layperson's definition of interfering with federal immigration act is pretty simple. If a bystander tries to get an incident between an immigration officer and a potential person who is being arrested, if they try to pull officers back, it is all right. It is legal to film operations, but you cannot be too close. Although that judgment is often left up to immigration officers. So we taking power of the right, First Amendment right, with all the protections that federal officials have. What is very interesting to me in this situation, we have the president basically usurping the governor of California's authority, which is in a sense an expansion of executive power, because Governor Newsom has said he does not want the president to activate the National Guard for these incidents. So I'm concerned that the chain of command is being muddied, also in a sense with see back and forth between Los Angeles Sheriff and Police and the Fed about the timing of their responses, who should be responsible for certain actions. And so when you don't have a clear leadership and line of command at the top, or maybe that creates a tremendous, I see it creating a tremendous possibility for
When the rest of the crew bails, you'll be picking them up. You need to evade the authorities before you bail out of there. Run evasive maneuvers, get clear, then head toward the drop zone. This all goes to plan. You rendezvous on the beach in the Palomino Highlands. And remember, Reshkovsky's paying you to get him out. I'm just a friendly stranger you know very little about. should say, I've been impressed by your professionalism. Now, I'm not going to go into it, but Rashkovsky's part of something bigger, way bigger. I need to make a few more inquiries, and we'll be ready to go on a job that requires your particular skill set. Don't retire on me just yet.
President Volodymyr Zelensky called the strikes pure terrorism and said that they show the Kremlin's real face.
No matter what anyone says, these Russian attacks are not retaliatory. They are intended for destruction. Complete destruction of life. That is their goal.
Meanwhile, Ukraine and Russia are trading blame over a prisoner swap that failed to materialize. Moscow said it would have been the largest such exchange since the war began and would have included both living POWs and the remains of dead soldiers. Sebastian Shukla has the details.
A prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine has descended into a blame game and left the whole process in utter disarray. On Saturday, Russia accused Ukraine of failing to keep their word following agreements made in Istanbul on Monday over an arranged prisoner swap, the second between the two warring nations. The Russian Ministry of Defense, posting graphic videos and statements on Telegram, said they had arrived at the location with 1,200 frozen bodies of dead Ukrainian soldiers in refrigerated trucks. Videos from the exchange site, which are graphic, show the Ministry of Defense workers opening the doors of those trucks where white body bags are clearly visible, where the ministry claimed that those are just the first bodies of Ukrainian servicemen, with thousands of others following behind.
There are 1,212 bodies in the convoy. 3 more echelons, each with 1,200 bodies, and 1 motorized echelon, which will also carry 1,200 bodies, are being prepared for departure in the near future. The total number will exceed 6,000 people. Unfortunately, the Ukrainian side has not confirmed the exchange today. It has been postponed indefinitely.
The Ukrainians, for their part, have responded to that accusation by saying the two had agreed to a swap, but that the date had yet to be agreed. Ukraine's coordination headquarters for the treatment of prisoners of war warned the Russians to stop playing dirty games and return to constructive work. But the fact it didn't happen and the trading of accusations may be the most telling of all. Efforts to bring a stop to the fighting showed no signs of being heeded, and over the last 2 nights, Ukraine has been pummeled by Russian attacks. The latest on the second largest city of Kharkiv, just 20 miles from the Russian border. And overnight, the mayor, Igor Terehov, said that 40 explosions had rocked his city and left 3 people dead. And that was followed by fresh attacks on Saturday afternoon that appeared to have taken place, with at least 1 person dying after an attack on a children's playground. And those attacks come after a huge barrage, one of the largest of the war, was launched across Ukraine. with 400 drones and
One thing about me,
launched to
I'm always, one thing about me, I'm always,
President Trump in as much in a phone call between the two men earlier this week. What remains unclear though at the moment is whether this prisoner swap will get back on track and whether President Putin has finished sending his response or if more attacks may or should be expected, forcing innocent Ukrainians to run for shelter once again. Sebastian Schukler, CNN, Berlin.
A Colombian presidential hopeful, Senator Miguel Uribe, was shot at a campaign event in Bogota on Saturday. He is reported to be in the hospital. Uribe is 39 years old and a member of the opposition conservative Democratic Center Party. He was hosting the event in a public park in the capital, and his party says...
Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing?
One night we should get chopped through jazz.
What are you doing?
Thank you for being with us. Give us the latest
Just like old times.
where things stand right now following this assassination attempt and what it could possibly mean for Colombia.
Well, the latest is that Senator Uribe is still fighting for his life at a hospital here in Bogota, the hospital of the Fundación Santa Fe, just about
Girl.
where I'm standing. The president of Colombia was on live television addressing the nation just minutes ago, saying that no effort is being spared and that the priority for today is to stabilize the situation and for Uribe to survive the night. We understand that the senator and presidential candidate he's been treated by a neurosurgeon because he received shots in his head. This is clearly a dramatic moment in the recent history of Colombia. The images that we received on Saturday afternoon are indeed quite graphic, as the attempted killer was able to reach very close, frankly, to the senator and was able to shot him. And to shot at least 8 bullets, and understand from authorities that he hit the target at least twice. The police have said that they have apprehended one minor, only 15 years old, Brian, as
I don't know what else to say. I'm like, okay.
Take a step back and look at what it means for Colombia. Well, this is indeed a return to an era that Colombia frankly hoped to leave behind its back, an era when bullets rather than ballots used to be the rule here in Colombian politics. Take a listen to what one analyst told me just hours ago.
Just told me hours ago.
It's been a couple of decades since any Colombian presidential candidate had been assassinated on the campaign trail, and Miguel Uribe's assassination attempt today reveals that we are going back in time significantly. The question now is how the different political factions react, the effect that this assassination attempt will have on the presidential race, and the tone in which the president and the ruling party take this further.
The attack has drawn universal condemnation. Brian, the Secretary of State of the United States, Marco Rubio, tweeted out his vicinity and closeness to the family of Miguel Uribe and called on the President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, to unite the nation. We're still more than 15 months away, frankly, from the presidential election, which are due for the summer of 2026. But unfortunately, the campaign is now already tinted with blood. Stefano Postman in Bogota for us. Stefano, thank you.
What you smelling?
President Trump is activating the National Guard because of immigration protests in Los Angeles. Protesters and authorities clashed Saturday for the second day in a row. But some say the president is going too far. We'll have an update next.
I hear you're playing Good Samaritan. You know, this is the kind of service.
As a global beverage company, Suntory strives to enrich people's lives through the gifts of nature. Water is the essence of every sip we drink. That's why Suntory aims to be net water positive by 2050. We are expanding our water replenishment efforts worldwide to ensure this precious resource can be passed down to future generations, helping both the planet and its people thrive.
Join me, Larry McDowell, as I introduce you to Africa's trendsetters. See how they use their talents, resources, and passion to make a difference on the continent. This is African Voices Changemakers.
In their first joint interview, Rotimi and Vanessa Mdee open up about how faith, family, and love led them to purpose.
I just want every time I step out and do something for it to be meaningful, purposeful, and effective.
African Voices Changemakers on CNN.
A golf club in Bedminster earlier today, maybe watching pictures of the very scattered, very isolated episodes of unrest around Los Angeles. And then on the way to this UFC match, we learn about this order for the National Guard. So you have him attending a fight on the East Coast while potentially stoking a fight on the West Coast and citing what he calls riots and looters, even though from all that we've seen from the visual evidence, what has happened has been very sporadic. It is notable how Trump has been very present about this on social media this evening, posting on Truth Social, posting on X, dispersing images of him walking out of the UFC fight with his messaging about California. And so that's going to give even more grist to critics who say he is trying to stoke conflict, trying to cause actual fighting on the West Coast, Brian.
And Brian, you mentioned social media there and the president being pretty active on it. What is the response from other corners of social media to this new deployment?
Well, there's two things that stand out to me. Number one, just the sheer volume, the number of social media videos. We've seen this in recent years. It's only becoming more prominent. That virtually everybody who shows up at these protests is holding a camera phone, is wanting to document it for himself or herself. And so we're able to see it from every angle. And that is helpful in multiple ways. We have seen today FBI officials, for example, point to social media videos and say that they see isolated individuals throwing rocks at police cars, at Border Patrol cars. And of course, FBI Director Castellano and others saying that those people will be found and will be held accountable. So those videos are in some cases helping law enforcement to track down what has happened on the ground. Those videos, though, also show that the vast majority of these actions have been peaceful and that there are lots of folks just trying to be heard on the streets in and around LA. Number one, the volume of the social media videos. Number two, it is notable how many California Democrats are trying to bring the temperature down, trying to bring the volume down. Whether that's California Governor Gavin Newsom saying, hey, they want a spectacle, don't give them one. Or it's Congressman Ted Lieu saying this is purposely inflammatory by the Trump administration. You have California Attorney General Ron Fontes saying there is no actual emergency in California. So yes, there are those isolated video clips that are being cited by the FBI director and other officials. But for the most part, you have California Democrats saying, hey, this administration is trying to be inflammatory here. Don't fall for it. We know some other senators as well. Senator Brian Jack find this authoritarian madness. And again, saying Trump wants the visual spectacle. He's going to want to see members of the military on the streets in LA. You do know the president, of course, a former reality show star, he thinks in terms of the visuals. He thinks in terms of the pictures that he can create. And, you have to wonder about whether that's a factor in this particular situation. I would also call out the number of scholars, folks who studied authoritarianism in other countries. People like Vidya, a politically strong man who says fake emergencies to justify crackdowns have a long history around the world. So you have a number of scholars who believe this has echoes to undemocratic countries in other parts of the world. But, like I said, for now, notable how California officials are using social media to try to lower the volume and cool temperatures.
And hopefully cooler heads will prevail. Brian Celtic, appreciate your time. Thank you. Kilmar Obrego Garcia, the man mistakenly deported to El Salvador in March, is now back in the United States, but he's facing new criminal charges, including transporting thousands of undocumented people to the U.S. Our Rafael Romo has the latest.
Kilmar Obrego Garcia remains in federal custody after court Friday night here at the federal courthouse in downtown Nashville. He will have his next court appearance next Friday for his arraignment and detention hearing. U.S. Attorney General Jeff Bondy announced Friday afternoon that Obrego Garcia has been indicted on 54 counts in the Middle District of Tennessee. According to the indictment on sealed Friday, Obrego Garcia and others are accused of a conspiracy as far back as 2016, in which they, quote, knowingly and unlawfully transported thousands of undocumented aliens who had no authorization to be present in the United States, and many of whom were MS-13 members and associates. But Obrego Garcia and his family say he fled gang violence in El Salvador and have denied allegations he's associated with MS-13. This is part of what Attorney General Bondy said about the case when she announced Obrego Garcia had been returned to the United States.
Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant, and they agreed to return him to our country. Obrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job, not a contractor. He was a smuggler of humans and children and women.
In March, when Obrego Garcia was mistakenly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador, an immigration and customs enforcement official told CNN he was sent there due to what the official called an administrative error. Multiple Trump administration officials have said it was not up to them, but the government of El Salvador, to return him to the United States. An attorney for Obrego Garcia told CNN how his legal team found out he was returned to the country. We learned about it on TV just like the rest of the country. What's clear, this just makes crystal clear what we've been saying, frankly, for the past few months, is that they've been playing games with the court. Just goes to show that they've been more interested in dragging his name through the mud than in actually sort of going through with proper court proceedings, just like it's been since day one. In a new development Saturday afternoon, President Trump said it was not his decision to bring Obrego Garcia back to the United States. The Department of Justice decided to do it that way, and that's fine, Trump said in a phone interview with NBC, adding that he expects it will be a very easy case for federal prosecutors. Rafael Romo, CNN, Nashville.
When we return, what a new CNN analysis of video, audio, and ballistics evidence reveals about who fired the deadly shots last weekend near a food distribution site in Gaza. That, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry and hospital officials, left at least 31 people dead.
As a global beverage company, Suntory strives to enrich people's lives through the gifts of nature. Water is the essence of every sip we drink. That's why Suntory aims to be net water positive by 2050. We are expanding our water replenishment network worldwide to ensure this precious resource can be passed down to future generations, helping both the planet and its people to thrive.
I'm Becky Anderson, 200 meters above the city of Dubai here in the UAE. And this is CNN.
Introducing Propel Energy Boost with caffeine, citicoline, and Gatorade electrolytes to boost your focus and rehydrate your body. Propel Energy Boost with caffeine and citicoline.
What causes a curve? Is it Peyronie's disease or somebody I can talk to for help?
I got somebody for that. I got somebody for that. I got somebody for that.
What?
Somebody for Peyronie's disease. There's hope for the estimated 1 in 10 men who may have Peyronie's disease, or PD. A urology specialist who treats PD can help you create a plan, including non-surgical options. Find somebody today at gogetsomebody.com.
In this family, there has to be drama. Chaos. Competition. Wow. That's what makes us us.
This is CNN.
A controversial U.S.-backed aid group in Gaza says it closed its distribution sites on Saturday, allegedly because of direct threats from Hamas. The group did not give details about those threats. A Hamas official told Reuters news agency that he has no knowledge of such alleged threats. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation was contracted to deliver aid and food after an 11-week Israeli blockade of Gaza. But the group has been fiercely criticized by humanitarian organizations for an alleged lack of neutrality. The GHF halted operations on Wednesday following 3 straight days of Palestinians coming under deadly gunfire on their way to a food distribution site. The group said it would take the day to focus on logistical work to better handle the massive number of Palestinians seeking food. Also, the foundation said to give Israeli forces the opportunity to make preparations on the access routes to centers. The first shooting was last Sunday. Palestinian Health Ministry and hospital officials say it killed at least 31 people. CNN's Jeremy Diamond has new expert analysis of the sound, video, and eyewitness accounts of what happened. First, a warning, what you are about to see is graphic. Here's his exclusive report.
Palestinians take cover as pulses of automatic gunfire crackle overhead. Others try and crawl to safety as explosions ring out. For several hours on Sunday, this was the terrifying reality hungry Gazans faced as they tried to reach an American-backed humanitarian aid site in Gaza. We are bringing our food drenched in blood. We are dying to get food, Amin Khalifa says amid a hail of gunfire. The aftermath is grisly. Bullet-riddled bodies lie scattered on the beach. As others emerge carrying sacks of aid these men died trying to get. Health officials and doctors report at least 31 were killed. 17 eyewitnesses told CNN it was the Israeli military that opened fire on the crowd. A CNN analysis of video from the scene, audio of gunfire, and ballistics evidence all point to the Israeli military. In Gaza, more families made to mourn.
He used us to kill us there, this man says.
What's happening is wrong. Wrong. Why? Why are they doing this? We go there just to get our daily bread, and they kill us. In the pre-dawn hours of Sunday, masses of Palestinians began trekking down al-Rashid Street, hoping to be among the first to reach the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation site in Tal al-Sultan, where limited aid supplies run dry. But as they reach the Al-Alam roundabout, a hail of gunfire forces people to the ground. Mounted machine gun. Forensic audio experts to analyze the gunfire in that video, and this analysis shows bursts of gunfire at a rate of 15 rounds per second. Weapons experts say that's consistent with the F-10 mag, a machine gun used by the Israeli military and commonly mounted on Israeli tanks. Those experts say that rate of fire also appears to rule out weapons used commonly by Hamas. And then you have bullets like this one, which doctors at Nasser Hospital pulled from the bodies of the dead and the wounded. Weapons experts also say this bullet is consistent with the FN mag. The Israeli military said they did not fire at civilians while they were near or within the aid site. But that statement is misleading. An Israeli military official acknowledged Israeli troops did fire toward people about 1 kilometer away from the aid site. The Al-Alam roundabout, where people were killed, is also about 1 kilometer away from the site. This entire area, with an Israeli military base right here, is under Israeli control. This post warns the Israeli military would be active in the area at the time of the shooting. It's from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which operates the aid site and closely coordinates with the IDF, alerting Palestinians that using the passage before 5 a.m. is prohibited. But they posted it at 4 a.m., as people were already being fired upon. Eyewitnesses described volleys of Israeli military gunfire. Snipers, tanks, and drones beginning as early as 3 a.m. on Sunday. More were shot at 4:30 a.m. Others described being shot as late as 6:30 in the morning. They were shooting directly at us everywhere, this man says, from the sea, from snipers, and from all directions. 4 people were injured, and 1 was immediately killed. I tried to stand up and escape or go back, but I was hit in my left side. I've seen a lot of soldiers in this war. When they want to clear an area or warn you, they shoot around you. But yesterday they were shooting to kill us. At Nasser Hospital, fear and pain are still etched across the face of 13-year-old Yazid Musleh. He was wounded by gunfire from a tank. His father and brother say he escaped from the community site. I saw the tank from afar, Cobb says. He was standing, waving his hands to the tank. Within seconds, gunfire was directed at him. He was lying on the ground. 2 days later, despite the dangers, tens of thousands of Palestinians continue to stream towards that city. Testament to the hunger and desperation of the city's And once again, in the early hours of Tuesday, dozens were killed on route. This time, the Israeli military acknowledged it fired warning shots and then opened fire. Many suspects advanced towards troops in a threatening manner. The military said it was looking into reports of casualties. It need look no further than this boy crying out over his mother's body, begging her to wake up. Today, she went to get aid. She went to get aid to feed us, he cries. And this is what they do to us? The Americans said, come to the safe area to get your aid. You should trust them. As for Amin Khalifa, the man who documented Sunday's gunfire, his quest for survival ended abruptly on Tuesday. He was killed while trying to reach that aid site once again. He was 30 years old. The Israeli military declined to answer questions related to our findings, but as recently as Tuesday, the Israeli military's top spokesman, General Efi Jeffrin, categorically denied that the Israeli military opened fire on Sunday, saying it, quote, simply didn't happen. But after a week during which more than 60 people were killed while trying to make it to that aid site, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation now says it is having conversations with the Israeli military to, quote, support civilian safety. Among them, a spokesman tells me that they are asking the Israeli military to, quote, enhance force training and refine internal IDF procedures. Jeremy Dine, CNN, Jerusalem.
So we are covering breaking news in Los Angeles, where President Trump has activated the National Guard because of protests over immigration raids. An update is just ahead.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere to fix that? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast, so strong, and so convenient. It's like putting the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires of your car on a single charge, or inflate a bag full of soccer balls in practice. Bullseye Pro is so advanced, it has a built-in spark pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Plus, it can be 100% hands-free. You simply set the target pressure and walk away, keeping you out of harm's way. Bullseye Pro is lightweight, durable, and powerful enough to inflate this massive monster truck tire. Plus, it has 4 ultra-bright LED lights to safely inflate at night. Bullseye Pro comes with 3 custom air nozzles on board, so you can easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Forget driving to the gas station. Bullseye Pro is your anywhere, anytime inflation station. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system, all for the factory direct price of just $79.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. But to really inflate this offer, we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. You get it all. An incredible value for one low price. Call or go online to order now.
To order, call 1-800-473-8032 or go to getbullseyepro.com. So call 1-800-473-8032 or order online at getbullseyepro.com. Order now.
The tea maker screws up the tea, boils it, screws it up again. It takes around 20 to 30 minutes to become a jar. I mean, people know that food is very important. So tea is a big part.
The White House has mobilized the National Guard after a second consecutive day of protests there against the ongoing immigration crackdown. Late Saturday, President Donald Trump the unusual step sent some 2,000 National Guard troops to the area, a move criticized by the governor. And Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth has threatened to send in active duty Marines. Demonstrators Saturday faced off with law enforcement in riot gear and endured tear gas and flashbang grenades, just as they did during protests over the migrant immigration. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brian Atlanta. We'll be right back with more of our breaking news right after this week.
purposeful and effective.
African Voices Changemakers on CNN.
This is Heaven and Honor, which translates as heaven and earth. An area where some of the finest wine.
But it was in the mid-1970s that it began producing the wine it's renowned for.
Men, cis people about whether or not a man who dates trans women or a woman who dates trans men, however that works. Y'all know I speak from a trans femme perspective, but the trans masculine perspective. If you're a woman who doesn't know the difference between me and a gay man, why am I talking to you? Like, if we're there, why am I talking to you? That would be like me going to, I feel like going to a Klan rally. Like, why am I going there to talk about race relations? They don't even respect my feelings. Like, why am I going there? And sometimes we gotta
Carry out $6.99 large two-topping pizzas at Domino's this week. Hurry in and order today.
understand and accept as queer people that it is not that they don't understand what you're talking about. What it is that they fundamentally don't believe that you are a woman. Or they if you were a gay person, they fundamentally believe that what you are is wrong. So, you trying to give the nuance and explanation, you undo that, you're not going to accept it because on a fundamental level, even if they respect you, even if they say the right pronouns, they say your name, they affirm you in a certain way, in the core, okay, not you 100%. Respect you. Don't believe you what I am. Or in the realm of what because I think that there's a nuance to cisgender women too. I know I'm cisgender, but I know you're a woman. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm female, but I know you're a woman. You're not like you're a woman. And so I think that there are cisgender women out there. But I do think that there are cisgender women out there that grasp the idea of, oh, you and I both know that you are not female. I know you don't have just don't accept it. And you got to get to the point where sometimes these motherfuckers don't accept you, and they're not going to. They're not going to. They don't. They get what you're trying to tell them, but I don't agree with what you're saying. And there are people who are like that. I totally comprehend what you're trying to tell me, but I don't agree with it. And if you get to the point where you understand that it's not about you, you can explain to the cows come home. If they don't agree, they don't. We're peaceful.
Now, President Donald Trump did speak about this on his
I don't know. That's
that there were
Kittle. SSOC. What does that mean?
in order to bring back the order to the town, and these authorities here are pushing back on that narrative, saying things are under control, peaceful protests are taking place, but people have the right to protest.
Good, thank you. And joining us now is Angelica Salas, Executive Director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. Thank you so much for your time, Angelica. First, you just heard that report there from Julia on the ground today. It's my understanding that you were part of peaceful protest on Friday. What are you seeing that's different today, aside from obviously now National Guard troops coming?
Well, first of all, in Los Angeles, we have a First Amendment right to protest. I myself have organized marches of tens of thousands of people for immigrant rights. We have marched in front of the federal building, in front of the detention center, countless of times, I would say hundreds of times, in demand of our rights. Never have we seen the response that we received from immigration authorities. I have never, in my 30 years of working on immigrant rights, seen ICE come out of the building and then throw tear gas at individuals. And again, we have marched with tens of thousands of people outside. We know how to organize peaceful protests in Los Angeles. What is different now is that we have a military force that is absolutely dedicated to making sure that they are going after our families. This military force is aggressive. It will not stand down. It does not care about safety. What it cares is about making sure that there is a chaotic situation created by them. Because they are there. Their whole purpose of being in our communities is to hunt our communities down, to arrest them, to detain them. This morning, I was in downtown. There was a small, peaceful protest. I was with lawyers and with members of Congress trying to have access to provide legal representation to the individuals who were detained on Friday. And what we received was rejection. This is the first time that I've ever experienced not having the doors of the detention center opened in order for lawyers to come in to represent people, the denial of access to members of Congress, and then the very quickly of what I saw was vans being packed with individuals in them and then being taken out of the detention center, the very same workers that we were trying to provide representation. And how did they get out? How did they get these workers out? By them throwing tear gas at the individuals who were outside. So what I see is an aggressive federal enforcement, because now it's not just DHS, it's the FBI, it's the DEA, it's all of the military of the police, all of the federal forces in military style, and now he's trying to employ the National Guard. First of all, what we see of Donald Trump is that he is absolutely obsessed with attacking our communities. We know how to peacefully protest, and what we also know is that this president wants to make sure that he sends a message to communities like Los Angeles, where we stand strongly with our immigrant community and where we wanted to create unity and instead of division.
And Angelica, I do want to note that the Los Angeles County Sheriff did say that.
All right, y'all. I'm going to bed because it is midnight and I'm tired.
That you have protested.
Oh God.
In Paramount, that protesters exhibit violent behavior towards federal agents. That the sheriff's department said that. But Angelica, I do want to ask you what you are telling your community right now.
What I'm telling my community is to fight to stay in this country, to fight for their families, to seek representation when they are being detained without warrants and without any level of suspicion about their immigration status. What we have
we're not doing that.
Throughout the city of Los Angeles. So what I'm telling my community is to exercise your rights, exercise your ability to seek a lawyer and legal representation. You deserve due process. What I tell the families that I talk to, I saw children and I saw the sons and daughters of the people who have been detained. I tell them, you are not alone. You have community behind you. You have organizations that are willing to help fight for your families to stay together.
Angelica, where do you believe this moment goes from here?
Well, first and foremost, I think that I want the entire country and the entire world to see that this President Donald Trump, is chaotic, he is cruel, he is unwilling to see us as human beings, and we all need to stand up against this kind of absolutely authoritarian attitude, action, and for us, because we're immigrants, we feel the manner in which this president cannot see us as human beings. He does not see the families. He does not see the workers. These are the workers that power this country to move forward. We work in every industry, and if we were so dangerous, why is it that you entrust to us your children, your homes? We build your buildings, your homes that you live in. We feed you. So to me, it just makes absolutely no sense what's happening. And I think that it's immigrants are standing up. We need everybody of goodwill and conscience to please stand up and stand with us against this incredible terror attack on our families.
Angelica Salas, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
A Colombian presidential hopeful, Senator Miguel Uribe, was shot at a campaign event in Bogota on Saturday. He is reported to be in hospital in critical but stable condition. A suspected attacker has been arrested. Uribe is 39 years old and a member of the opposition Conservative Democratic Center Party. He was hosting the event in a public park in the capital when his party says armed individuals shot him in the back. We are joined live now from Bogota by CNN contributor Stefano Bosavan. Stefano, fill us in on where the investigation currently stands, where Uribe's health currently stands, and the broader context of what this assassination attempt means for the country.
Yes, Brian, what we're hearing directly from the highest authorities here in Colombia. The Colombian president, Gustavo Petro, canceled
Is your chick from the week?
A planned visit to France, but he was due to travel today, the last few hours, to attend the situation, and he gave a speech to the nation, expanded and updated the information that we have about this terrible and traumatic attack against the presidential hopeful Miguel Uribe. Petro told us that first of all, Miguel Uribe is alive and he is undergoing treatment. He said that he's receiving surgery on his brain because some of the bullets reached him on his head. Petro also updated the situation concerning the first detainee, the first person charged with the attempted murder, as we know it is now. And we're talking about Brian, unfortunately, of a 15-year-old minor who was apprehended at the scene of the crime. Pistol in his hand, and that he believed that was the person that materially shot the presidential candidate. Of course, now the investigation are going to understand who gave this 15-year-old the clock to kill the presidential candidate and why, who are the candidates and the masterminds behind this heinous crime. But at the same time, unfortunately, this is a chapter actually that not perhaps going to leave behind his back. It is a going back, a throwback to an era where bullets and propagandas used to rule Colombian politics, and it's really a step to the unknown. But it's still more than a year away from the presidential election. But take a listen to what one analyst told me about this whole situation. That's 2 hours.
It had been a couple of decades since any Colombian presidential candidate had been assassinated on the campaign trail.
All right, y'all. I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
Going back in time.
Real this time. I will see y'all Monday.
Different political factions react.
Y'all have a good Sunday.
Assassination attempt to have on the presidential race.
Sunday fun day. Have fun. Be safe. Whatever y'all plan on doing.
Take this further.
And I will see y'all Monday. Same time, same place. Same time, same place. Good night.